Nearly 2 years ago, Air France Flight 447 mysteriously crashed in the Atlantic, killing 228 people. Now, with the flight recorders finally recovered from the ocean floor, we know more about what happened in the final harrowing moments of that Rio to Paris flight. Here's Nancy Cordes.
The plane's black boxes reveal that the Air France pilots, faced with conflicting speed readings, didn't know whether to speed up or slow down. At 11:10 p.m., the Airbus A330 was heading into a powerful storm 700 miles off the coast of Brazil when the autopilot disengaged and the plane began to roll to the right. The cockpit displays showed inconsistent speed readings, a sign that the external speed sensors, called pitot tubes, were malfunctioning or perhaps had iced over. "I have the controls," called one of the plane's two co-pilots. A stall warning went off, and he climbed briefly before pointing the nose down to pick up some speed. Then he leveled out and began to climb a bit, perhaps not realizing he was still going too slow. That triggered a second stall warning. But instead of pointing the nose back down, he continued to pull up.
The aircraft begins to roll. It begins to go from one side to the other side.
Mark Rosenker was chairman of the NTSB when the plane crashed in June 2009.
What we've seen in this cockpit voice recorder is two pilots extremely confused about what's happening on their flight deck, what's happening to their instrumentation.
It was now a minute and a half into the crisis, and the captain, who had been on a scheduled rest break, made it back into the cockpit. 20 seconds later, the co-pilot flying the plane said, "I don't have any more indications," most likely referring to speed readings. "We have no valid indications," confirmed the other co-pilot. As it pitched and rolled, the plane slowed even more and stalled, falling from 5 miles up for 3.5 minutes at a rate of 10,000 feet per minute, slamming belly first into the Atlantic. What would those 3.5 minutes have been like for the pilots and for the passengers?
Horrific is the only way to describe it. The aircraft was rolling. The aircraft was descending at a high rate of speed, tremendous G-force. It was horrific.
The last recorded speed right before impact was just over 120 miles per hour. A jet of this size cruising at altitude should have been flying at more than 500 miles an hour. Harry?
Nancy, are officials in Brazil assigning blame?
Well, officials in Brazil and in France, where this investigation is taking place, say all of it is to blame. The faulty pitot tubes, which have now been replaced on all Air France jets, and also the actions of the pilot. They'll also be taking a look at the training of the pilots. Were they trained to deal with a stall in these kinds of situations? This investigation is going to be going on for about another year, Harry.
Nancy Cordes in Washington, thanks.